it's pretty cool. Ron Luce comes out, all the kids, 7,000 kids there. Halloween night, by the way, October 31st, Halloween night, 7,000 kids hanging out with Jesus in the Central. So, Ron Luce comes out and says, we want to go over with you what we've been kind of teaching the kids and working with the kids over the weekend. And Ron says, okay, kids, what will you say to someone when they ask you, how do you know that God is real? And so all the kids, including that one, stand up and say, we know that God is real because he changed our life. So that's the reward. So if you think your life is perfect the way it is, then this message is not for you. Just keep doing what you're doing if everything's cool. But if every once in a while you wonder how you keep from going under, then this is the message for you, right? So let's keep going. By faith, Noah, listen to this. Noah, after he was warned about what was not yet seen and motivated by, thank you, built an ark to deliver his family. He built an ark to deliver his family, and by faith, he condemned the world and became an heir of the righteousness that comes by faith. So we all know that Noah rode out the flood. But you want to hear something, a couple interesting things about Noah. First of all, he wasn't anywhere near the water. There was no water. A lot of scholars say it hadn't rained for an awful long time. No rain, no water. Now, can you imagine you're at home and you're doing your devotionals and you're minding your own business and God says to you, Lynn, I want you to build an ark. Get some gopher wood and commence building an ark. And it's a huge monstrosity of a set of instructions that he gets. But you want to know the amazing thing? The amazing thing is, maybe Noah said, are you kidding me? That can't be God. God can't help. It's not. That isn't. Ever have that happen? No, that can't be God. Talking to me like he wants me to build an ark? No rain and no water? But it says by faith, godly fear came into Noah. In other words, he said, what if it is God? Holy mackerel. What if it is God? Wait a minute. I think I did hear. I think it was God. Godly fear, reverence, the motivation that he wants to please God. So obviously we know what happened. He built the ark. And I was reading a little bit about Noah. Did you know that he's been, how do you say it? It's been attributed to him that he was the first vineyard member. He grew the first vineyard. And then drank the first wine. Look at what that started. That's what that started. I'm just saying, though. They say that he ended up drunk. If you remember the story, it was terrible. Anyway, that's hope for all of us because even Noah sinned, right? But it says here that he was motivated by godly fear. And that's my whole point for this whole thing, is that everything has changed. Let's go on to the next slide. I think this is the end of the chapter, and Paul is saying, what more can I say? Or we don't know if it was Paul. Whoever wrote Hebrews is saying, what more can I say? Time is too short for me to tell about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets, who by faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, quenched the raging of fire. You remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? That was like the first story I ever heard in Christian, transforming from Catholic to real church, or to, not real church, but to fundamental church. Forgive me, I love Catholics. See, in the Pope's eyes and my mom's eyes in heaven, I'm still Catholic, because you don't ever get not to be Catholic anymore. Anybody with me? Okay. So quenched the raging of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, gained strength in weakness, became mighty in battle, and put foreign armies to flight. Women received their dead, raised to life again. I'd like to have been that mother. That happened several times. Several moms got their kids back. Kind of like a country record. You play it backwards, you get all your stuff back. You get your dog back, your wife back. So women received their dead, raised to life again. Other people were tortured. So here's the other thing, the suffering part. Other people were tortured, not accepting release so that they might get a better resurrection, so they might gain a better resurrection. Next slide, please. We'll go over here. Others experienced mockings and scourging, as well as bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned. They were sawed in two. They died by the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, destitute, afflicted, and mistreated. The world was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts and on mountains, hiding in caves and holes in the ground. My life verse David wrote when he was in a cave. He was in a cave. His father-in-law was trying to kill him for nothing, for no reason. He's in a cave, and he wrote, "This poor man cried out, and the Lord heard him and delivered him from all his troubles." Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hiding in caves, holes in the ground. All these were approved through their faith, but they did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better for us, so that they would not be made perfect without us. That can be a little confusing, but let me straighten it out for you. It means since this time, God sent his son, sent the Messiah. There was no Messiah before this. So, Pastor Al, where's that baton? So God sends Jesus down, thank you, with the baton. So here's what I think that means. That all these examples, all these real life actual stories get us to this place where we can grab a hold of their faith. We can shoulder upon their faith. We can connect to their faith. Is anybody getting me? So, can I tell you a quick story? I have to be to work at like 9 tomorrow morning. You guys all right? So, I was attempting to get sober in 1982. And I chased a lot of meetings initially. Went to a lot of meetings because I was crazy. I had lost my mind. And I can remember listening because I knew I had to do something. I got desperate. I woke up on the morning of October the 18th and said, God, I'll do anything. Anything you want me to do. That's what I'll do. Surrendered. Because I can't live like this anymore. And so I started going to meetings. And, I was blessed because I ran into some people that had been around for a long time, had been sober for a long time, because they say, don't go hang around with the people that don't get it. Don't go hang around with the people, forgive me, the people that have lost, the people that are losing. Don't hang around with the losers. Hang around with the people that have been at it for a while that know how to do it and grabbed a hold of the idea of what it takes to stay sober. So I was blessed. I remember going to a meeting one time, and here's my story. And, when you go to AA meetings, you got to drink coffee. It's mandatory. Everybody drinks coffee. All the alkies and druggies drink coffee for some reason. So the meeting's over, and I'm standing there talking to this old dude who's been sober for like 100 years. And I was not very nice. He wouldn't believe that I was an angry young man in those days. I mean, I was angry, whatever. So we're talking. He said, Dave, I can see that you don't get it. You don't have the faith for this, do you? And I said, man, I'm trying. I'm trying, man. It's a struggle. I'm trying, but no, I don't. And so he's got this coffee cup in his hand. And he said to me, well, here's what I want you to do. He said, for now, I want you to use my faith. See, I got enough for both of us. So I'm going to give you this cup. I'm going to give you this cup. So can you come on up, Steve. So Tom, come on up. So Maddie, come on up behind us. John, get up behind us. In fact, everybody in the front row, get up right behind us here. So just a little illustration. Line up right behind each other. So just a little illustration. When Jesus came to earth, it was God transferring the baton down to Jesus, who's transferring the baton to us, so that we don't have to do this by ourselves anymore. So when you don't have enough faith, when some of you don't have enough faith, when some of you don't have enough faith, or when I don't have enough faith, hold hands all the way down, just like an elephant parade. So when you don't have enough faith, Jesus is saying, this baton I've given to all of you so that you're better when you're together. You're better when you're together. My faith is made perfect in your weakness, and when you're weak, I am strong. And so 1 can chase 1,000, and 2 can chase 10,000. Can you imagine how many demons we all could chase when we're together, because Jesus has given us the baton. So thank you very much. So I'm not talking, excuse me, I'm not trying to relate with Pastor Arnold's message in this baton, in that particular illustration, because it was different what he was saying, right? But you see, as pastors, his job with me, his job with the rest of us, is to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. So who's supposed to have the baton? All of us. We're all supposed to have the baton. So Jesus came down. So this is all about, since God provided something better for us. So instead of a mountain full of lightning and full of fear and full of shaking, and we're still trembling, what have we got? We got Jesus, who says, come to me, because I'm gentle. I'll help you. I'll take care of you. But we have to spend the time with him. Are you guys cool with just getting a little church on Sunday? I don't know. So therefore, I'm going to paraphrase this because this translation's wrong. So therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off every single thing that gets in our way, that hinders us, and the sin that so easily entangles and besets us and haunts us and chases us down. Let's throw that off. And let's run the race set before us with endurance, like a marathon, like a journey, not a destination. Let's run the race set before us with endurance. And let's keep our eyes on Jesus. Hey, if I could keep my eyes on Jesus, I could walk on water. If I could keep my eyes on Jesus, I could walk on water. So let's keep our eyes, fix our eyes. Let's attach. Let's get a hold of our eyes on Jesus' eyes. Let's get a hold of this baton with everybody connected, so that we're not doing it alone, so that we don't have to be fearful, because Jesus was the author and the finisher of our faith. It's all about Jesus. Nothing else. Jesus, I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Maybe a voice someday to sing. Anybody feel me? So I'm gonna tell a story. We're gonna do communion. We're almost done. Okay? We good? Pete, you all right? So I borrowed this story, just like I borrow everything you hear me say. I borrowed it from somewhere. But this is the story of a little girl who lives in a village, maybe a town, I don't know, but it's a village, it's a town, it's a small town, small village. And she's a teenager, and her name is Sebastiana, and they call her Tiana. And she's a great kid, lives in a single household, just her mom. Father's down the road. Anybody relate? Okay, all right, listen. Is it time to sleep now? You want to take a little nap? And we'll wait. Anybody relate to what I just said? Single household, father gone? Okay. So, you can't wait to get out of the house. Even though her mother's good. Her mother's good. She's doing everything she can, but she can't wait. So anxious to get out of the house. I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait till I get 18. I am so out of here. I'm so gone from here. So she gets 18. As a matter of fact, let me change the story. She didn't even wait till she was 18. She's almost 18. She runs away in the middle of the night. Mother wakes up, there's a note. Don't come looking for me because I'm gone. I'm going to go make something of myself in the city. I'm not hanging around this little one-horse town, one-stop sign town anymore. And Tiana was beautiful. Not only just smart, all there, beautiful, but a little misguided, missing the father. You know how that goes? You know how that goes? We all had fathers around us, huh? That's good. That's good. So anyway, she leaves. Mother wakes up in the morning, sees the note. She's devastated. Devastated. So she doesn't know what to do right away. She doesn't do anything. She just prays, just gets on her knees. God, protect my daughter. Save my daughter. Protect my daughter. Put a hedge of protection around her. Anybody have their kids leave home? So, I don't know how long the time went by, but she prayed every day. And then she said, you know what, I'm going to go look for her. Now, they don't have any money. They don't have money. This isn't a money family. So she takes whatever she can and packs whatever she can and takes a bus into the city. Big city. Maybe it's Boston. Maybe it's Philly. Ever been to Philly? That's a scary place. Everybody been to Washington, D.C.? That's a scary place. So here's Tiana now. She's all bright-eyed, and she's going to make it in the world, and she pulls into the city. And guess what happens when a pretty girl who doesn't know nothing from a one-horse town comes into the city? Man, that is what they're all looking for. All right? On every block, Satan is waiting for that girl. On every block. So, I'm not going to go into the big thing of what happened to her, but let's just say she had this warm, cozy bed at home. Anybody have a warm, cozy bed? Yeah. When it gets a little chilly like these last couple mornings, man. She's remembering this warm, cozy bed because by now she's been in a lot of beds, and they ain't warm and cozy. And so her mother comes into the city. She doesn't know where to go, what to do. She just starts from square one. I'm going to go to the places where some young girl might go. And she's searching all day long until 10 o'clock at night. She's looking with pictures. Have you seen my daughter? 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 And she's praying, Lord, help me find my daughter. Lord, help me find my girl. Help me find her. And it's awful when God doesn't answer your prayers, isn't it? It's awful when he doesn't answer. How many times have you prayed and God doesn't answer right away? It's awful. So she keeps looking, she keeps searching. It's days and days and days. She runs out of money. She doesn't have any more money, and she's almost out of hope. So she goes to one of those places where you take pictures, the little photo booth where you take pictures of yourself, a little photo like that. And she took all the rest of the money that she had and bought as many of those photos as she could. And she wrote notes on the back of the photos, and she put them in all the places. She went as many places as she could and put them where somebody might see them. Have you seen my daughter? And she goes home. And there's nothing left for her to do but trust God. Nothing left to do. So, I don't know how long went by. It was a while. It wasn't right away. Tiana's coming down the stairs from some joint. And something, maybe the Holy Spirit prompted her to look to the right, and she looked and she saw this little glimpse of a picture. look back. You ever have that happen when you look and then you look back? Joanne would call that a God wink. So God winks and she looks and there's the picture. There's the picture. And he goes over, he takes the picture off of the board, he turns it around, and it says, Tiana, it doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you've done. I love you. Come home. And you know, when I first heard that story, I'm like, wow, what a story. And then I realized it's the story. It's all of our stories. It's all of our stories. Because it's Jesus coming to the cross. Jesus came down to bring the baton to say, it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you've been. Come home. I love you. Come home. You see? So not the God with fire and brimstone, and not the God burning up the mountain with thunder and lightning. The God that says, it doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you've done. Just come home. Come home. I love you. That's the message we share. That's the gospel. That's Jesus Christ. Where are the ushers? Can we pass out the communion, Danny, please? Media team, can we put a little soft music on back there, maybe? So, sorry for the emotion, but it's a real deal. It's a real deal that Jesus came down to pass the baton. So now here's the thing. We have to get over the Catholic mentality. Those of us that are older need for the rest of the week. That's not how it works. It isn't like Bernie Reed, our grandfather, Bernie Reed, used to say, I had a gram rosary beads around her neck. Constant prayer warrior, an honest-to-goodness Jesus freak. We shoveled the street to go to church. We lived on a private road. That woman's going to church, I don't care what, on Saturday. So we go to confession on Saturday, and there's hot dogs and beans waiting when we get home, so that's all we really care about. Bernie's in the car on the way back. He says, yep, we go to confession on Saturday and church on Sunday so we can sin all week. That's how I was brought up. Right? I'm just saying, Alicia, I know you guys can't relate to that. But here's what I'm trying to tell you. When you got saved, you got all of God you're ever going to need. What we don't get is we don't need more of God. God needs more of us. So if you think that you're going to live the holy, victorious, spirit-filled life by just coming to church on Sunday, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because we want you to come here. But if you're not living this out the rest of the week, making disciples along the way, then forget about the baton. Because then it's all about you somehow. And at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, how does that work out? How's that work? So anyway, maybe you're here this morning, and you heard that message. You heard Jesus saying to you, I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you've been. Right now, if you could bow your heads and close your eyes for the sake of privacy. You could be here this morning and you heard Jesus talking to you just now, just then when I said, come home. You heard Jesus say, come home. Come home. And you didn't even know it was him. You just said, what happened to that? It's just some dude who thinks he knows how to tell stories. No, that's Jesus. That was God himself speaking. So if that's you, in your heart right now, you don't have to do anything except say, yes, I want Jesus. I want to turn my life and my will over to the only way I can be saved. Because Jesus said that if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord, then you will be saved. Saved from what? Saved from your sin. you heard me read it, that God was on that mountain bringing holy fear so that we would remember the holy fear and we would not sin. It wasn't enough that day. It wasn't enough. So he sent Jesus bearing the baton, saying, I forgive you. Trust in me. Believe in me. Only believe. The only way to the Father is through him. The priest can't do it. The pastor can't do it. Coming to church can't do it. Going to Chick-fil-A can't do it. Only Jesus. Nothing else. Nothing else. Only Jesus. So, the culmination, what's the word? The whole Christian deal tied up in the cross. Jesus' way of passing the baton was to die. That was his way of passing the baton to us. He died for the forgiveness of our sins. He died. We all know the story. He died. And we take this communion, we remember what Jesus did. So when we take the bread, you lift up that bread, I was reading about transubstantiation, where we actually believe that this is Jesus' body. Well, whether you believe it or not, it's in remembrance that Jesus' body hung on the cross. And that's why there's no body up there anymore, because not only did he die, but then he resurrected. So we die in our sin, and we come resurrected, forgiven. Amen? That's the deal. So take the bread. So, there's nobody here who had to shed their blood. No one here had to give blood in order to get in. Jesus. He had to die. His blood, blood of the everlasting covenant, is how we're saved, how we're healed, how we're delivered, and what brings us to faith, belief, covered by the blood. Drink this cup knowing your sins have been forgiven. Your sins have been forgiven. So I don't know what else to say, except that story, you can replace it with your own. Story of Sebastiana, you can replace it with your own. For some of you, and I promise I'm almost done. This is the altar call after the altar call. It's the sermon after the sermon. It's the message after the message. With me? I need 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do it. So, your story wasn't you ran away from home, and you went to all the bad places and ended up with doing all the bad things. That's not your story. That isn't your story. Some of us have really good stories, really good places we've been, really great things we've done. Some of us have really good stories. Some of us have really good parents who taught and trained us. So it's you that I'm speaking to now, that the Lord wants to know that don't be so easily thinking for us to love one another, to help one another, to disciple one another, to pass the baton together. Lots of opportunities. Don't keep missing the opportunities that God has, because you're all set. Amen? So now, may the Lord bless you. And may the Lord keep you. And lift up his face and his countenance towards you. And bring you peace. Today, and the rest of the day, the rest of this week. Amen? Amen.